I ended up joining the Marine Corps just out of desperation because as a kid I was bad, almost died in 7th grade from a drug overdose. I say the Marine Corps is my salvation. Had no direction, didn't know where I was going. Essentially I'm fighting for my life mentally. I don't know how to explain it, but I shouldn't be here right now. There really is no safe space from a rocket. So if it's gonna be your time, it's gonna be your time. Was an 0311 infantryman, went over to Okinawa, Japan on my first pump, and that's where I fell in love with the gym, the fitness, where I wanted to become a pro bodybuilder. Fitness for me is really personal. I never wanted to share it with anybody. The gym is my outlet. The gym is my therapy. A responsibility that I feel like I have in my life to do something in honor of the people who didn't make it back. I want to give people hope. I want them to hear my story, and I want them to know no matter how many times you get knocked down, you can always get back up. I just like being authentic because it's easy and I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, bro, you're a real trainer. I love hearing this.
I love hearing it.
So when you're a real person, it's really hard to connect with these social media strategies that they want.
Hack the algorithm type stuff. Welcome to the show, Aaron.
It's good to be here.
Yeah,
it's really cool to be here.
Boom,
so
in.
I'd like to know a little bit about you because I mean, what people probably know is your social media. You've trained some really, really high-profile celebrities. You've got an interesting background. I would like to know your story a little bit, how that all got started, how you got to training celebrities, your fitness journey before that. I know you served in Iraq. Maybe start back there.
Yeah, so I ended up joining the Marine Corps just out of, I say desperation because as a kid I was bad, almost died in 7th grade from a drug overdose.
Oh, wow.
Had no direction, didn't know where I was going, squandered all kinds of opportunities. And I remember seeing this one buddy of mine who was a linebacker on the varsity football team, looked like Goldberg. He joined the Marine Corps, and when he came back, I was like, who is this guy? Like streamlined, language was different, talked different, walked different, looked different, everything about it. And I was like, that's what I want. So that was the catalyst for me to join. I didn't have much else going on in my life. And I think when you join the military, if you go into it with the right mindset, it can really change your life. I don't see a lot of people take it too seriously now, but when I went in, my whole goal was Special Forces. I wanted to be Marine Corps reconnaissance. But when I got to my first duty station, my platoon commander wasn't having it. He's like, you ain't going nowhere. So kind of put a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't really know how the military worked at the beginning, but was an 0311 infantryman, went over to Okinawa, Japan on my first pump. And that's where I fell in love with the gym, the fitness. I got bit by the bug over there. I say that's where I wanted to, become a pro bodybuilder. We were either in the field or in the gym. And if you've ever known any veterans or you've talked to anyone when they're deployed, you either turn into a PT stud or an alcoholic. And I don't drink. So I started falling in love with the evolution of my body changing with fitness, and I was reading the magazines and doing all the cell tech and the nitro tech when it was, muscle tech was
I remember
big.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of it all.
What year was that? What years?
I was over there in 99.
Okay, yeah. So we're right around the same age, I think. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll be 46 in August.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Okay.
we were all the same, so. If you have the nitro tech and cell tech still,
I know.
I probably guarantee you're somewhere
said
between
that,
40 and 47 or so.
Right in our
You're
wheelhouse
that
for
range.
sure.
You know what's interesting before you continue is that a lot of when people find value in the military, especially young men, it was the discipline you were seeking, right? The structure, was that what it was?
I didn't even know what I was seeking. I just needed something.
Yeah.
And it gave me everything I didn't know I needed.
Okay, so like structure, purpose, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're,
Yeah,
You have,
camaraderie.
you have siblings?
I've got a brother and a sister, yeah.
Where are you at in the age?
I'm the oldest.
Oh, you're the oldest.
Yeah.
I'm assuming drugs at 7th grade, you had probably a traumatic childhood. I mean, or were you just partying? I mean, how did that come about?
My family just started going through a bad time, divorce, and I don't know, it affected me in a weird way. We came from nothing, poor, and never really knew materialistic things, so family was, kind of everything. And when it fell apart, I just somehow found the wrong crowd to be in.
Acting out subconsciously, not even realizing it.
Yeah, but I mean, it was hardcore. I was doing speed and cocaine and
damn, that young.
stuff. Yeah, I'm hanging around with people on house arrest. Like, it was, thinking back on it, I can't believe that was me, knowing the way I am now.
I mean, I think it's. I hate to say normal, but I mean, like in a situation like that, subconsciously as a kid, there's a part of you that's probably seeking the attention back from the parents or distracting from what's going on there. and you don't even realize you're doing it, but you are, because you want that as a kid, right? I mean, I imagine that's what's going on. Did that was that a long period of time, or was it like a short period that happened and then you like turned around, or were you all the way up until you went in the military really fucking around?
It was, so I had that near-death experience. My mom sent me to Missouri, so I was in the Ozarks for the summer in the middle of nowhere. I mean, the closest thing was a gas station like 30 minutes away. I was building outhouses in the middle of nowhere with my grandpa having me do like real work. And when I came back, my mom just wanted me to get away. So when I came back from that, I just fell right back into the same BS. And so this divorce was my mother and my stepfather. My real father, I didn't really know. They were divorced when I was a baby. So somehow he came back into my life, got custody of me, took me up to Tennessee, Chattanooga. And then I just managed to fall into the same crowd there. And they didn't really want me there. His wife wasn't a big fan of mine. So they ended up driving me to Panama City, Florida, and put me into this like psychiatric rehabilitation center. So I was there for a couple months on medication and just like being in a loony bin. Weird. So my mom came back to get me right before I was going to go into foster care. So she took me back home to Daytona Beach and put me in a Catholic high school. So I'm like, all right, I gotta make this work because my mom's sacrificing now financially to put me in there. So I did better, but still, you know, when all you've known is just really doing your own thing and getting in trouble, you don't really know much else.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot, dude.
Yeah,
that's a lot for a kid to go through.
So you decide, get in the military, and now you're there. Did you like it right out the gates?
Yeah. I mean, it was just a whole nother world. I mean, I was a East Coast guy, Paris Island. So I still didn't know what I was getting into, but I just knew every day there was a lot of growth happening. And, you know, I was meritoriously promoted, you know, squad leader, all that stuff. So I knew I was kind of in the right place.
So once they started giving you responsibility, is that where you started to feel the growth?
Yeah. Because then it's like all of a sudden now you've got other recruits looking at you like, what should I do? Like, can you help me with this? And that's when you find, you know, as a team, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Because in boot camp, if you don't put your shoes on fast enough, guess what? You're taking them back off. Not only you, but everybody. And then if you don't do that quick enough, then you're going to move your whole freaking bunk bed to the other side of the room. Like, it's just a lot of games. So I found boot camp was a lot more mental than it was physical.
Today's giveaway is the Super Bundle. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comments section. This is also the final hours for our brand new MAPS program, MAPS Longevity. It's $50 off, plus you get access to our forum for a year for free, plus you get a coaching call for free with us. That'll be happening with the rest of the new people that sign up. So if you're interested, go to mapslongevity.com, use the code 50long for the discount and all the free stuff. Back to the show. You know what's interesting about this story with just young men in general is when they have when they're given responsibility and kind of a sense of purpose, they tend to shape up. I had a client once.
Crave structure and responsibility.
Yeah, I had a young client. Well, I had these people I trained. Their son was having issues with marijuana. They sent him off to one of those camps, and what they did with him is they put him in charge of other kids. And I thought, that's crazy. This kid's totally screwing up. No, that made a big difference. Once he was in charge of other people and given responsibility, he had a sense of purpose, and it really pulled him out of what he was doing. Sounds like that's kind of what happened to you once you were.
That's exactly what happened to me. Yeah.
It
was, I say the Marine Corps is my salvation.
Really?
It was like my first transformation.
Now, when you were a kid and they put you in the psych ward or whatever, did they diagnose you with anything at that point?
They diagnosed me with all kinds of stuff. I don't know what. Honestly, thinking back on it, I don't remember what medications I was on, what all they diagnosed me with. It's all a blur. I think I've somehow blocked a big piece of that out.
Yeah. Where I'm getting at is, again, I think when you lack a direction, sense of purpose, this is in particular for young men, all kinds of things go haywire if we don't have a clear direction of where we're going to go and why we're doing it. Especially if you are purpose driven, which, knowing what I know about you from what I've read, you seem to be very purpose driven.
Yeah, sometimes to the detriment of me, because I'm still trying to learn the balance of like, all right, well, fuck, what does it feel like to be happy? Like I'm still learning a whole lot of stuff in my life because I've sacrificed so much to get to where I am now. But it's like, all right, well, where am I now and what am I doing now? The Hollywood stuff was completely unexpected, came out of nowhere, and then I made massive moves in a very short period of time. And then COVID hit and then wiped it all away. And I'm like, damn, I got to restart again. So there's been so many different evolutions. It's been the wildest roller coaster ride of that I can even put into
So take me through. Yeah. So we're in the military right now. You're getting structure. Yeah, you're
thinking about bodybuilding.
Yeah, you've started to get into weightlifting, starting to get jacked, liking that. Also leadership. So you're getting purpose right now. Where from there? Where do we go next?
When I came back from Okinawa, there's a section in the Marine Corps called the Body Bearers. They're up in D.C. It's a small 15 to 18 man detail that does all the funerals, carry caskets out of Arlington National Cemetery. So they came and screened me at Camp Lejeune. I failed it by a couple reps doing a strength test, but they look for a lot more than just your strength. The strength can be built. It's the character, it's the responsibility, it's the moral compass you have. So they came, they screened me. I didn't pass it. I thought I was done. I was moving on, getting ready to go to squad leader school, and then I got cut orders to go be a body bearer. So went up to D.C., went through the whole training program for the body bearer section, and again, it was something else where it's like, man, I'm like continually finding new levels here. But that's where I really got big in terms of like physically strong and. When you're carrying caskets, you don't know how heavy a casket's going to be when you're actually out at the cemetery. When the hearse pulls up, it's like, how heavy it is when you pull it out and you got hands on it. So that's where that went. The body bearers ended up being the section leader.
So that job is literally handling.
I didn't know that was like a specific job for specific guys. I thought it was always like
you're carrying caskets of soldiers.
So for us, it was the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And and that's your job. Your job is to handle those, move those bodies around, bring them to where they need to go, type of deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we would do anywhere from 3 to 5 funerals a day.
Oh shit.
Okay, so
I did not know. I didn't even know that was like a thing.
Any psychological impact of seeing that much? Because you're around death, you're around mourning, probably, right? Because you're in the funeral, so you're seeing family show up, cry, the whole deal.
Oh yeah.
Did that impact you?
Yeah. When I talk about it online or when I'm having conversations about it, I say it's my most humble duty because when you lay someone to rest, that's the last image a person's going to have of their loved one is, you laying them down. And for us in the Marine Corps, we use 6 men on the casket, whereas most other services use 8. Maybe that's changed, I don't know, but we trained hard and heavy. And when you get to the hole, we would raise the casket as a final salute.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I did, both my grandfather's funerals. Thinking back on it, now that you're asking the question, yeah, it kind of did have an impact on me in a very deep way because not only from the fact that I'm burying family members, but also you're seeing a lot of these young Marines come back from the beginning of the war.
Yeah.
And I remember there was at Arlington, Section 60, there was nothing there. It was just all grass. And literally just every time you're, week by week, you're just seeing it fill up. So, yeah, it takes a little bit of a toll, but I always try and keep perspective about it because, you can't break down or get emotional on a funeral. You've got to, especially if you're the section leader, you got to show up and be there for the Marines, and we always look at it as paying the most. There's no other
honor.
There's no other way to put what we do into words. Like I can't articulate the feeling, and then there was a funeral we did for Mike Spann, the first guy to get killed in the war over in Afghanistan. So there was the uprising in Mazar-e Sharif. He was a CIA guy, but he was a former Marine or Marine veteran. And I remember doing his funeral, and it was a chapel service. So down in the chapel, the family could come downstairs while the service was going on. And they could talk to us. And I remember his daughter coming up and like tugging on my jacket and asking me to take care of her dad. So it's like the little stuff like that. Thinking back on it's emotional.
For sure.
Oh man,
that's heavy.
Yeah. So I was just going to ask you, did you know the history of these people that you were carrying, or was it?
No, only the ones like Span, because that was a nationally televised funeral.
Right.
We did the Macon Raiders. That was a 2-day nationally televised repatriation. Those guys were killed over in the Fiji Islands.
And how long you said you did this for? How long were you
a little over 3 years.
So 3 years of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then from there, did you go and serve? So not serve, but go in active, in wartime, or?
So from there, I ended up going to the Pentagon.
Okay.
And I ended up being personal security for General Pace.
Oh, okay.
He was the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Okay.
That's where I started going overseas, but that was in a different capacity. So
that's as his security. You're going overseas.
as his security, you'd go over in advance and place security teams and do advanced reconnaissance of certain areas that we would visit. That was my time active duty overseas, because after that I got out.
Okay.
My all my time over there was as a contractor.
Okay.
And that was part of what I did over there was part of the war that you don't ever hear about because it was all classified at the time. But it's part of the identity management of keeping bases safe and working with the Iraqis to help them stand up their own biometric capabilities, similar to the FBI and DoD here in the States. But I was over there for 4 years, almost straight. I might have been home for a total of 2 months.
So doing security for the Pentagon, is that similar like Secret Service type stuff, or you're
kind of, yeah. I mean,
okay.
We would always get mistaken for Secret Service because of.
So you got the suit on, the earpiece,
Yeah.
You're okay.
Weapon underneath, the vest on, all of it.
The whole deal, and that's a whole nother level of training.
Yeah, that was pretty intensive training. That took about 4 months of just literally back to back to back training. Evasive driving. High risk personnel, weapons training, just everything you can think of that would require you to be as proficient as possible to guard to protect one of the highest ranking military.
Was this your favorite thing you did of everything?
I wouldn't say it was my favorite. Honestly, I always go back to the body bearers just because it had so much more meaning.
Honor.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. You're probably the right guy to ask this question. But the security breach that happened when Trump got shot at,
God, I'm glad
I've
you're
heard
asking this, yeah.
people commenting on this. You have a background in security. Was that just like wild that they completely missed all that stuff? Was that because I've heard other people talk about, they're like, this is, how did they even let that happen?
Yeah. I mean, when you really look at it, you got to be a moron.
Okay,
Really?
so
I'm like, what?
because you guys are thoroughly trained.
I was gonna say,
so many
in other
breakdowns.
words,
Come
that
on.
was such a huge mistake that it's like it wasn't a mistake type of deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way someone should have been up there. Like, bottom line.
Yeah.
There's no other.
I'm
way
not
around
even
it.
trained, and if you
Yeah.
put me in charge, I'd be like, you probably should put somebody up there for us.
So you're not worried about like sloped roofs.
Yeah,
It's not a huge concern of yours.
good deal.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Okay, so you stop. So you were done contracting out there. Security was that's when you ended that, and then you come back to the States, and are you thinking, what do I do?
We started turning everything over to the Iraqis. There were a lot more close calls than I care to experience, so I took a leap of faith and.
What do you mean close calls? Like
Rockets coming in.
Oh, really?
Checkpoints that are really no longer safe. What used to be the green zone is now kind of the pink zone. It's not. So it's like, as an American, you're going through Iraqi checkpoints. I learned a little bit of Farsi so I could navigate through them effectively. And I don't even I don't know how to explain it, but I shouldn't be here right now. But there were so many close calls that I should not be here, and
Wow.
along the way, there were a lot of people who were close to me that are no longer here.
What, at this, like you saw this happen around you?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just it's part of life, you know. And I did a lot of traveling around the country too. I mean, I had 10 tier 1 sites, 5 tier 2 sites, and we had some DNA labs out there.
So what does that mean? What is that?
So a tier 1 site would be like a bigger base. A tier 2 site would be a smaller fob type deal.
Oh, okay.
And then the DNA labs is where we did all the collection of evidence. And
I can't imagine. So you're working, you're trying to provide security, an explosion goes off, something happens. After a couple times, that would make me so jumpy. How do you deal with that?
I think you just get to a point where, like, you can't hide from a rocket. You know what I mean? There really is no safe space from a rocket. Mm-hmm. So if it's going to be your time, it's going to be your time. And I believe the more you can accept that, the better off your mental state will be. Because otherwise, you're going to just walk around like a lot of these grown men I see wanting to go home, or they can't take it. They're so stressed out. They don't leave the palace. They just crumble.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so when did you finish that, and then what did you do afterwards?
I finished that in 2009, the early summer of 2009, and that's when I moved to the States. I came back to the States to do contract work for Marine Forces North, which is the Marine Corps' entity under U.S. Northcom. And it just happened to be based in New Orleans. So I'd never been to New Orleans, didn't know anyone in New Orleans, but the colonel there was, standing up a new section within the Marine Forces North in transit security, which would fall under emergency management. So I had the opportunity to come in and kind of, take that on as my own. But it didn't really work out the way I had planned on financially. The funding, like everything was just a mess.
Okay.
So I had some people trying to help me figure out what to do, and it wasn't really working. So I couldn't find work. I'm burning through all my money. I've got financial responsibilities. I take care of my family. And I ended up just losing everything I had. I couldn't sustain anymore. So I went from doing all this stuff in the Marine Corps to all of a sudden now I'm living in my car. I'm homeless. I filed for bankruptcy. I wanted to,
How old are you at this point?
This was in 2009. I'm not good at math.
Yeah, it's like you're young man.
I'm young.
Yeah. You said you had a family.
20s, early 20s.
Married with kids? You said you had a family.
I had a marriage that went south when I was overseas.
Okay.
So came back, got divorced, went back over.
Okay.
I don't have the relationship I would like to have with my daughters. So it's something I'm really working on, and they're a lot older now, so hopefully they'll start understanding more that it wasn't just neglect. It was like, essentially I'm fighting for my life mentally, not knowing what to do. Every time I think I got a foothold on getting life back to where it should be, I get hit with something. And so that's what I was constantly fighting through, and this homelessness was another piece of it. But out of desperation to pull myself out of it, because I had friends of mine who were like, dude, just do what you're good at, which is fitness. And fitness for me is really personal. Like I never wanted to share it with anybody. But I had to, because otherwise I didn't have anything else to offer. So got certified as a personal trainer. I found a 24-hour gym in uptown New Orleans. And I was like, I'm going to compete in the local New Orleans bodybuilding show and become Mr. New Orleans, and I'm going to promote health and fitness around the city. I did all of it.
So you competed, you won.
Competed and won. And then...
Are you working at 24 Fitness at this time?
I'm working there. I'm doing my laundry there. I'm sleeping on the massage table.
Oh, wow.
I'm doing everything I can to make whatever work.
And this is 09, 2010 era?
Wait, was this a 24-hour fitness or just a 24-hour gym?
Just a 24-hour gym. It was called NOLA Fit 24/7.
I was going to say,
that's weird, man.
I was like, we're in the same company at the same time, bro. That would have been really crazy.
Oh, this is getting weird. But yeah, so you're living in the gym,
Yeah.
and you're trying to build a clientele, and you're competing at the same time. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I had my, personal trainers have their picture on the wall. I just had my Marine stuff on. Mm-hmm. And that's when Zac Efron came into the gym with his trainer at the time doing a movie called The Lucky One, which is about a Marine Iraq veteran. And they saw my picture. We connected. They brought me to set, and they were like, "We want you to help him embody embody what a Marine is."
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Just like that.
What a crazy way that unfolded.
Now, did they hire you, or you're like, I'll do it for free, or like how'd that work
They
out?
ended up hiring me. I was his one of his technical advisors on the movie, and then that is when I found out. This is where I talk about this piece kind of being the destiny part of it all, because I never seeked Hollywood out. I didn't know anything about it. But what I found out is when I got there to New Orleans, there were more films and TV shows being shot there at that time than anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
So you were
Yeah.
put somewhere, and then these opportunities were brought to you.
Yeah. And him and I hit it off, and we kept it going through multiple years all the way up.
Now, were you still working at the gym, or did you have to quit that to do this thing full time?
I was still doing the gym, and then and then it slowly kept picking up. So it was, I'm training. Zach comes back in for another movie. G.I. Joe Retaliation. I trained the cast, which is where I met The Rock. And Stallone was coming in to do a movie called Bullet to the Head. So it was really a time where I'm like, all right, I got my footing. Here's my second win. Let's see where I can take this. But I never really fit into the Hollywood culture though, because I'm just look at what I'm
You don't even strike me as like the Hollywood. So what do you attribute? What was it, or what do you attribute? Was it about you that connected so well with Zach and these celebrities that seemed to be so different than you? What was it?
I think when you, like, we all know fitness to some degree, or in our minds we understand it to a certain degree.
Sure.
But I think when you come across someone who's genuine about it and authentically living it, it hits a little different. And not only that, but I would always do things for them. I would go, like, if they needed something, I would go get it. I wouldn't say, let me get your assistance so I can get some money. I would just go get it.
Yeah, extra mile.
Yeah, I was there for them whenever they needed me to be. I'd pick them up sometimes and drive them. I mean, at some point, I've pretty much driven some celebrity around to whatever gym. I like to take them to the hardcore dungeon spots where they wouldn't normally go, where it's like when you go in, it smells like armpit and blood.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
I love those gyms.
So do I.
Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah, so I just started creating like really genuine relationships with these people, and but I never seeked anything. I wasn't always trying to take pictures. I wasn't always trying to like, hey, can you introduce me to this guy? I'm here to do a job. Outside of that, I'm a homebody. Like, I love my own personal space because I need to recharge.
That's one of the most common things. We have several friends that
train celebrities.
And the most common thing, I think, because you guys are all so different, the one thing that I think that I've noticed is that you guys all have that about you where you're just like, you understand that these celebrities probably don't want photos taken of them, or you using them as leverage to make your, like, and the more privacy and the respect that you give them, they tend to really, really appreciate that. And I think that's the common thread that you guys all kind of have, is that you were the same way that way.
Now at this point, are you financially starting to pick up and doing well, and you're like, okay, this is working?
Yeah. The big after The Rock and I had the short stint with Stallone, he got injured early on in filming, so our training was limited, but I would still go to set and hang out with him and Momoa, and I don't smoke cigars, but I'd go there and hang out with them while they smoke cigars and just shoot it up. And I started getting a lot of notoriety. So directors and producers started training with me, and then they're the ones who were like, "Hey, have you ever thought about getting in front of the camera?" I didn't even know what that meant. But they're like, stunts, acting, something like you have a presence, it could be valuable. So I got I got an acting coach, started doing stunt training. Things started to pick up. I was getting small roles here and there in New Orleans. And then 2015, I moved to LA, signed on with some bigger representation, and really got into the acting and stunt piece. And then 2020 was lined up to be the biggest year acting and stunt wise. And I was actually phasing out of fitness
and doing more of the acting or stunt.
How well, I've always been curious because I've never met somebody with your path. Like, how does that pay? How well does stunt pay? Is it like per movie? Do you get contracted for multiple? Is it like one big payday and then you got to let that stretch to the next one? What does it look like?
Well, the streaming changed a lot of that.
Yeah.
But in general, it depends on like how big is the part, how dangerous is the part, what's the duration. Where do you fall out on the SAG scale? And then obviously the residuals is going to depend on how much money the film or the TV show made. So, I mean, there's sometimes, like I get checks right now, sometimes it will be a penny. And then I'll get checks that are thousands of dollars.
From the residual or whatever?
From the residuals, yeah. But if you have a good stint on the movie, like a big part, it's pretty lucrative.
Nice.
So 2020 was lined up, but that's the year of COVID. Is that when? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I actually was finishing I was doing 2 movies in New Orleans, and my producer, who I was working with out there, he was like, we were just having this conversation because I didn't really like being in LA. He's like, "Why are you there?" Like, well, where else am I going to go? Like I don't have the funds built right now to move somewhere. And he's like, "Dude, just do it." So I'm like, "Fuck." So I did it. So I'm like, you know what? We had a pause for the holidays at the end of 19. Went back to LA, moved everything to Vegas, went back to New Orleans, finished filming, came back to Vegas, which is now home, and then I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks before I went to Boston for my next movie. And then my producer, after the first week, he's like, "Hey, there's this like COVID thing going around, so production got pushed a little bit." And then the next week it was like, "Hey, we're shutting down production for a little while," and like everything just within 3 weeks, just everything shut down. And I'm like, this has got to be when am I going to wake up from this? Because it made me realize everything that I was doing was relying on Hollywood. All the depth I had was in stunts, acting, technical advising, celebrity training. When that shut down, I didn't have anything, which was when I started launching my, I was like, I'm just going to launch my online coaching business. And it did good, but.
This was during COVID that you launched it?
During COVID, yeah.
And you were just using, I'm assuming just because at the time we couldn't go anywhere, so it was social media?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was, I had no idea what I was doing. I've never been in the coaching space before, didn't know how it all worked. I just know that I'm good at what I do when I'm working one-on-one with somebody. But I was running myself ragged because I didn't understand how to scale something, and
you're just adding clients.
I'm adding clients. The next thing I know, I'm like 7 days a week. Shit, like, I don't know when I'm gonna take a piss.
Yeah. How long did you do that for?
I did that for a couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah, and then.
Was it like a light switch went off when the 2020 thing happened as far as like financial for you? And then did you pick it up right away, or was it like a grind to get back? Like what was it? It
was a grind to get back because not only that, but you're just watching the deterioration of our country. And it was affecting me in a really bad way. I lost a lot of friends during this time too, because as a veteran, when you're in the military, it's, back to what you were saying before, you've got that sense of purpose, you've got that specific goal, mission, whatever it is. And then when you leave that, you have to recreate that and somehow now in the regular world. And it can be very difficult. So when these guys are already struggling, and then you see all this nonsense on top of it, they just give up.
So
Wait, so you're talking about a lot of these suicide?
Yeah.
More military service people die from suicide than war is a statistic that I've read.
It's bad.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Jolie Skin Company. This is a shower head that filters your water. You will notice a difference on your skin and your hair. Go check them out. Go to jolieskinco.com. That's JOLIESKINCO.com/mind pump. You could try it out for yourself with free shipping. Back to the show. I've read a little bit about you. And you have had to deal with PTSD and some of that stuff. Were you aware of this at this point? Were you dealing with it, or was it just in the background while you're trying to work?
Oh yeah, constantly dealing with it every day. And this is actually when I had there's a lady named Dr. Shauna Springer. She's kind of one of the pioneers behind stellate ganglion block. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like I was on a downward spiral, 2020, 2021. And that's somehow we connected. I think it was through a mutual friend we connected, and she was like, hey, I would like to, to do this for you, and maybe we can, see if we can help any other veterans too. So I did. That's when I started really trying to address my own shortcomings, because I was miserable. I couldn't sleep. I was
just going to ask you, what were your symptoms of your PTSD? What did they look like?
I was just someone you didn't want to be around. Yeah, I was all over the place. Every moment was fleeting into whatever the next one was. I couldn't find happiness in anything I did. I didn't get excited about anything. I kept thinking back to, all right, well, what else is going to go wrong now? And it's like your mind takes you in the wrong direction. So it's like I'm trying to get my life on track, but my mind is taking me to a place that it's not going in the direction where I need it to go.
Anxiety, depression,
all of it.
Which is crazy, because you were a successful personal trainer. So I would imagine you probably kept it together while you're with a client, and you're probably training people like this. And then it was like, as soon as that interaction shut down, then you're battling yourself, I would imagine, because there's no way you have that many clients and be that successful if you were a mess while you were training them. So they probably didn't see or feel that, or am I wrong?
Yeah, I think when I'm busy and I'm engaged and I have something that I'm doing that keeps me aligned, it's easy to keep it together. It's when
just quiet.
There's nothing going on.
Yeah.
There's silence, and you just the cyclic thoughts that just continually, bring you down all these different rabbit holes that you don't really want to be in.
Any self-medicating at this point? And that's a common thing with things like cannabis or.
I started doing cannabis when I moved to LA before I went to bed at night, because it just helped me sleep. And when I did the stellate ganglion block, after that is when I was really fascinated with psilocybin. So started really going down that whole path. And, I was finding different things in my mind that helped me make sense of what was going on by using that medicine. But yeah, outside of that, not
Explain the block for the audience, because I didn't know what it was until you guys started talking about it.
So I don't know a ton of it, just through what Dr. Khan explained to me, but essentially this is the communication pathway between the part of the brain that is kind of in this loop of trauma and your body, right? So that block kind of prevents that from happening. Is that what it felt like when you got it? Like I feel calm all of a sudden?
Well, so I'm laying on the table. They go into the C4, like there's a nerve block on each side.
Right.
And I remember seeing the needle, and I was like, how the hell is that going to go?
Oh my God.
That's going in my neck.
So they numb it all. They numb it all up. And I remember when they went in, it felt like, how do I describe it? When something is shrink wrapped.
Yeah.
It's like if you buy a blanket or something, it gets shipped to you, and it's like this big, and then you pop it open.
And it opens. So it felt like everything expanded?
I felt that whole sensation go across my entire body, and then out of nowhere, I just started crying.
Wow.
So it was a powerful experience, but the thing with stellate ganglion block is it puts you back into parasympathetic, but at the same time you have habits and specifically in your mind that you need to fix.
Right. It's not done.
You
But
still have the patterns.
There's
but
there's the therapy that the follow-on therapy that goes
it's the
along
fear
with it.
response that has been blocked. It's the
Yes.
physiological response that's gone. But now you can go through and work on it. And that's probably why you cried. It's probably like your body felt safe enough to let you do that.
Yeah, probably. Because I mean, I don't show very much emotion. I'm pretty straight across the board.
Sure. So you do that, you feel that relief right away. Were you like, did you have a vulnerability hangover afterwards? Were you like, oh man, I just cried in front of these people? What's going on?
No, actually, I surprisingly I didn't.
Okay,
and,
great.
And I wanted to talk about it more because it was a powerful experience.
Now, once you did that and you're going into therapy, are you able to visit memories and things that were maybe too hard before, or was it different visiting certain things?
Well, this is where I didn't take it all the way to the end because I started getting on these calls talking, and I'm like, this is not what I envision, it being. I don't do good with therapy. I think probably because as a kid I had some bad experiences with therapy, and I'm just like, back to the mindset of you're not going to understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Like I have no relatability with you. I can't talk to you about this. And when I watch you writing notes and like it kind of rubs me the wrong way, and then I can feel myself kind of
Harden up.
pull back.
So you didn't do that all the way, but you got some relief.
I got some relief from it, but I just realized that man, I got a lot of work to do on myself. So
How do you think people like you, because there's a lot of veterans who come out with PTSD. Obviously the block helped a lot, but it's not the complete story. How do you think they should visit that? Because the therapy you said doesn't work for you. I know a lot of men that say the same thing. By the way, I know a lot of men without PTSD that say the same thing. And I think that maybe because a lot of therapy is geared towards the female mind and not necessarily the male mind, which is a bit different. How do you think they should progress or move forward? Do you talk to them? Do you help them on it? Okay.
Well, great question, because this is where Transcend comes in. The way I look at all this now, when I came back to the States, and I see it across the board with most veterans who get out, is they go to the VA. Who knows how long and how much BS you're going to have to go along with the VA to get the right help. So if you can just get your blood work done and see what the hell's wrong with you and then address it hormonally the right way, you're probably going to have a much better outcome than trying to do all these post-traumatic stress, therapies and all this other stuff. Because me thinking about it now, I've done toad venom, psilocybin, stellate ganglion, all right, but if that, it can help mentally, but if my endocrine system is off,
if you feel like garbage, you feel like garbage.
Yeah,
physically.
So my recommendation to everybody is, especially when you get out, the first thing you should be doing is
blood work.
Yeah. And PTSD or stress in general is strongly correlated with hormone disruption. So, and this is just for anybody. Like if you're just overstressed, which PTSD is tremendous stress on the body.
You're just stuck in a sympathetic state.
Right. So this is just tremendous stress on the body. But even if you don't have PTSD, you're under tons of stress, job, divorce, whatever, your hormones get affected, especially over long periods of time. And for men, that looks like low testosterone almost always. For women, it looks like all kinds of different things. Inverted cortisol, where cortisol is low in the morning, starts high, comes high at night type of deal. And balancing that out doesn't fix the issue, but at least you physically feel good.
Yeah.
So now it's like a stronger version of myself can move forward versus.
Would you say the biggest sort of, once you figured out how to balance your hormones and everything in terms of your sleep, was that like the biggest difference you saw right away? Or
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then, I've never been one to wear trackable, whatever you want to call these things, but you can really start putting pieces together that make sense. Like, oh, that's why I feel like that. I felt like this for so many times over the past, however many years. And it's like once you get your blood work done and you have data, you can really start putting the pieces together. And I feel like you can really make a massive correction. But right now we're so used to being stuck in this baseline of unhealth that we don't even know what it feels like to be at what normal really is.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing when I train a client and they
I'm fine.
start to get healthier and they're like, I had no idea how bad I felt. All of a sudden, I just feel, so
Our
great.
bodies are so resilient, and they're adaptation machines, and they do such a good job. So many people are walking around subpar, but they think they're fine because they don't know what optimal feels like, And then you get optimal, and you're like, oh shit, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
It's amazing. It's in the military also too. I don't understand why there's not more. There's not something in place that helps with that, so that way when you get out, you don't have to deal with it. Like you can address it from the beginning, because when you're in these, all these hostile environments, and you're just expected to be a superhuman,
right?
Yeah.
But yet you're not fed like one. You don't get to sleep like one. Like nothing matches.
Yeah.
So when you get out, you're a mess.
Protocol once you get back.
People don't understand that a trauma response is an adaptive survival response. So it actually serves you well when you're in the environment where you need to be on guard all the time. But when you go back to a quiet, normal
Real
life, it's a mismatch. So it's like I have this adaptation that is now hardwired because of where I was. And where I was, rockets are flying over me and stuff's happening. But now I'm training people. I'm in a gym, and that trauma response, that adaptation is terrible for this life, but I can't turn it off. Yeah. So that's kind of becomes.
Did you have moments? Did you have big? I would imagine someone like that was coming from a place where they're on edge like that. Did you have moments where you caught yourself snap over something stupid, like you spilled coffee and all of a sudden you fucking put a hole through a wall, or did you do things that kind of woke yourself up of oh, I've got something going on?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, not in front of clients and stuff, but in my own, behind my own walls of my house, it was, I mean, I've had to patch up quite a few holes. And, and it definitely, and especially when you're in a relationship, you really learn how much is wrong with you.
Yeah. I would kick myself for not asking you this, but do you have a spiritual component to this, to look back? Because the things that you're lining up, the odds that those things would line up the way they did are super crazy. It's almost like you were put in those places.
Yeah, New Orleans and everything. Yeah,
and you're given these opportunities for some purpose.
Honestly, it's one component that's allowed me to keep going, because I've just wanted to give up so much. That component of knowing that this path is special. There's a reason why I've been presented with all these amazing opportunities. Granted, these amazing opportunities have presented themselves when I've had to hit rock bottom again. But I think there's something to the story that even I don't know what it is yet. And not only that, but also too, there's a a responsibility that I feel like I have with my life to do something in honor of the people who didn't make it back. There's so much inspiration, I think, behind what continues to give me life right now to keep going. But from what you just said is 100% true.
You're currently training people? Is this what you still do?
No. Right now I'm so with Transcend, I'm trying to just be. I want to be a walking billboard for how healthy you can be and how much you can continually evolve in the right way, no matter what your age is. And there's a long story behind the whole thing with Transcend, but I want to build a platform. I want to give people hope. I want them to hear my story, and I want them to know no matter how many times you get knocked down, you can always get back up. And I want to be an inspiration for my family. I want to change the course of my family's history. I want my daughters to look back and realize that I wasn't neglecting them. I was really just trying to stay alive. Yeah, there's so many pieces to this question.
Did when 2020 hit and you had to go online, was this the point at which you reached out to Andy Elliott to help you build an online presence? Was that what point did you meet him?
So there are a few businessmen who I know and I have had respect for. They've helped me. They're the ones who kept telling me, you need to meet this guy. So I met him in Vegas, and he like really pitched this great idea to do something fitness related because he preaches fitness and all this stuff. And I think this was really before a lot of people knew who he was. He was just starting to go viral. So I bit like a lot of other people did, and I moved out to Scottsdale to do something with him, with his business, but also too for my business with fitness, to use that unique synergy.
Was it before 2020 or is it?
This was right after I started online coaching. So this was the summer. I moved out there in the summer of 23, and I met him in like April or May of 23.
Oh, okay. So he's just starting to pop off around that time. I think.
Starting to pop off. No one really knew what was going on with him.
Yeah. And then he pitches you on this idea, hey, let's go build this fitness army together. You know, you with all of your connections, your background, your physique, everything like that, me with my business savviness.
Yep.
And then we're going to build this together. You actually relocate.
Moved everything.
And then you guys start building together. What does that look like? Are you guys meeting every single day? Are you doing something for him? And what are you doing for him in return? Is he supposed to do something for you? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, he was supposed to help build out a CRM. We were, basically for really high-end, business clientele, to give them a very unique fitness experience, which I was excited about because I can do that. I just don't know how to build. I'm not a tech guy. I'm an old school knuckle dragger.
Yep.
And in return, I would be the face of his company for fitness. Man, none of it materialized. And I started learning very quick that I had made a wrong move coming out there. But I'm already out there, so now I need to figure out how to make this work.
Trying to make the best of it.
Yeah, it's like I'm pretty resilient. I can figure this out, but it just kept getting worse and worse. In terms of follow through, it's just a lot of talk. I mean, I would get up on stage and I'm with him sometimes, and I'm like, I don't even know how he's going to introduce me. Like,
there's no plan or nothing.
Well, it's not only that, but it's like when you lie so much that you don't know what the truth is anymore, it's kind of hard to
Decipher from the two.
Yeah, I mean, get up on stage, he's telling people he moved me out there, he bought me a house, he bought me a truck, he's talking about me training all these celebrities that I've never trained. I'm like, I don't know, like, this is...
Oh, man.
Wow, like that.
Yeah, just cause it started getting a little bit embarrassing. And
did you say anything to him? Like, hey, man, no, that was true.
Why mention that? The
way he is, he's a very difficult person to talk to. It's his way or no way.
Yeah, he comes off that way for sure.
Yeah. So I was, there was a fitness company in place called Earn It All. There was kind of the fitness company there. I was coming in to just be the face of it all.
Yeah.
And Earn It All, he kicked him to the curb in December. So what ended up happening on my side was from November of 23 until May of 24, they didn't pay me a penny. So that whole plan like backfired in the worst way possible.
I got to imagine that your military background, you probably trust people. You're loyal to a fault, and that's why you lasted that long without getting paid until finally you were like, okay, this is getting crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's man. I started learning about what was going on behind the scenes, and when I actually made the move to leave, and people found out that I was gone, The amount of people who reached out to me
Oh, wow.
and sharing their stories with me, I was embarrassed and I was sick to my stomach that I was actually a part of that. There's no human resources department at that company. So it's like you have nowhere to go if you have an issue.
Sure.
So all these people are losing thousands of dollars, not getting anything, just like I didn't get the CRM. I'm supposed to come in there and, make this what we talked about it being. But he's just a very, he's just really good with his words. What do they say? You can sell ice to an Eskimo or whatever.
Yeah, he's like the ultimate used car salesman. I mean, he comes off that way. I mean, to me, that's what I don't know him personally, but I've obviously seen him.
We've been around enough to
online
know,
that it's like, yeah, he's a quick, smooth talker and probably does pretty well at manipulating people or getting people to believe in what he's going to do, which he has no intention of ever following through. And then once he gets what he needs from you, then he's just kind of on to the next. And if he did a good enough job of leading you on, but never really inking anything on paper or doing like that, then he probably just takes advantage of a lot of people that way. And I've heard stories like that trickling out. I have friends over that are connected to the Baller Buster page. I've known that page since it first started, and the guys behind that. And so I've watched them kind of unfold. It sounds like he's got a lot of cases against him.
Yeah, and talking to a lot of these people after the fact, they either don't have the money to legally fight it, or the people who do have the money just don't have the bandwidth or the time to mess with it. So, I mean, I've got the amount of messages and the list of people, like I have it. It ain't going nowhere. I'm not saying I'm a pissed off Marine after somebody, but like, it's not right to do that to people.
Yeah.
And the day of reckoning will come.
It will.
Whether it's through me, whether it's through the government, whether it's through somebody or some entity or something.
Yeah, you can't rip off that many people and get away with it.
No.
Yeah, it'll catch up.
I think we're in this
Definitely
weird,
catch up.
all of us being the age we are, right? We were here before it, and we're in the middle of it now with social media and the explosion of it. It's just it's a weird time that someone like that can make a lot of money really quick before they get found out. You couldn't do that. Of course, there's always been scammers and people that have been around forever, well before the internet and social media. But because of how fast somebody can grow and the attention they can garner so quickly, even if they're screwing over 5 people, if they can get 100 new people on fast enough,
eventually it catches up.
Eventually it does.
The term snake oil salesman comes from that. So it's like when those
move
guys
town to town.
they
That's
go
the
from
thing.
town to town selling fake elixirs and stuff, and they'd sell a bunch of them, and they'd leave before people would be like, "Hey, this didn't cure my cough. This gave me, whatever," and they'd be in the next town. They just keep going until eventually it catches up to them. So eventually, you get caught, you get found out. What makes me annoyed is that the fitness space has got these people, and they use fitness to prey on people, either through selling bogus supplements or selling other fitness people that they can help them build their business, and you can make a lot of money doing, following my program or whatever. We're seeing a lot of that now, which is really frustrating.
See, this whole coaching space is so new to me. Like when I launched my online coaching business, I just did it like I know I can help people, and all I know is customize coaching,
Right.
which is it's time consuming.
Yeah, it's not cut and paste.
Big time.
No.
Yeah,
So it's like, but at the same time, having went through this experience, and then, working at the Elliott Group, and then, going around to be with all these other influencers everywhere else, and I'm like, this is literally a circle jerk of dudes using each other.
Yeah, dude, it's 100%.
And so it's like I feel dirty.
100%.
I feel dirty.
Yeah.
Like I anytime I see anybody pop up that has anything to do with that entity,
Yeah.
I unfollow them, I block them, whatever it is. Like I just don't want to see any of it. I want to cleanse. I feel like I want to go back to before I even knew who he was.
Yeah.
Because granted, my life wasn't amazing, but at the same time, I was building something that was out of
Honest.
integrity and authenticity. And
Yeah.
I was literally helping people. Like I got a lady, this real estate lady up in, up in the New England area. She's big time Sotheby's lady. And I changed her life and she's writing a book about it. And I'm like,
That's great.
So it's like the little things that make all the difference in the world to me are the stuff that these coaches could give two shits about because all they're in it for is the money or the
quick buck.
accolades or whatever.
Yeah, you sound like a real trainer.
Yep.
That's one of the things we're trying to do right now is we got fed up
We
with
see the
that.
problem
We
for
got
sure.
fed up with that whole space, so we entered into it. And, luckily we have a platform like this podcast where we could call people out and they'll have a tough time hiding. So that's what we've been doing a lot lately.
It's so good, man. What you guys are doing is so good.
Yeah, when did you actually find the podcast? We were talking off air, and you had said that even before you got to Transcend, you had come across the podcast. You remember when it was? How you found?
I mean, you can scroll back in my social media like several years ago, and I've reposted some of your guys' stuff.
Oh, really?
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's great, man.
That's really cool.
So at the moment, you're really trying to be a spokesperson for health and fitness. And now, how are you doing that? You're working with Transcend. We're all we all work with them. Large company. Do you have somebody manages some social media? Are you doing speaking engagements?
So where I'm at right now, I feel like 2025 is the year that everything that's happened, I pull it all together, and then I'll find out later this year where all this is going. I don't have a social media manager. I don't have social media nothing. Like I kept trying to go down this path of like talking to these PR people and and social media people, and it's like, well, this is the strategy, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like
It's hard for authentic people to get it, bro.
Yeah,
Bro, you're a real trainer. I love hearing this.
yeah.
I get
I love
it.
hearing
100%.
So when you're a real person, it's really hard
Yeah,
to
it's a
connect
weird-
with these social media strategies that they want you
hack
to
the
do.
algorithm type stuff.
yeah. I'm like, I don't know what the algorithm is. I don't care about what it is. Like let me do this. Let me just share what I'm doing. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And granted, I don't have the reach of millions and whatever. I think that'll eventually hit a number where it's supposed to be, but I don't sit there and think about all these different posts that I'm going to do and how they're going to look, and I'm not paying attention to the metrics of it all, the data. Like I just want to post things on there that people have asked me about several times over the
help
years,
others.
and I'm like,
Good.
here it is.
You're good.
This is what we're trying to
That's
teach
the right move.
the trainers and coaches that are with us that have gone through our course. And by the way, one of the challenges that we have is when we're working with, we have a marketing team and company that we work with, that their greatest challenge is that we refuse to say things like, oh, make your first 10,000 in 30 days. And it's like, no, if you're going to be a good trainer, it's going to take a fucking long time. You're going to train people for a long time.
You got to get good.
You're going to suck at it for a while, then you're going to learn, and then you're going to get better, and it's going to be a slow process, but it's really rewarding. And the good part is if you can stick through it and you can stay with it, then it will build and then it'll stay.
And you have a career.
You will, and you'll have a solid foundation. If I showed you some gimmick how to do some crazy challenge to make $10,000 next month, I can't promise you're going to be a great trainer 2 years from now because you did that. You might make a quick 10 grand, but that doesn't make you a good trainer.
Yeah.
It's a long time to be that.
If this
So,
makes you feel any better, we did it. What you're talking about, that's how we built this company.
That's right.
That's how we did. And I'll tell you
Slow.
what, we had a
gradual.
year there where we had somebody help us try to chase the algorithm for a second. It was the worst thing we ever did. And a year into it, we looked at each other like, fire him.
Yeah.
We're going our own way. and it was
An
awesome.
alien thing for us.
Yes,
It didn't
man. Yes.
resonate at
Yeah,
all.
dude. You're doing it the right way. You're actually trying to make an impact. And that's what builds a career. And by the way, we've been doing this for 10 years. Do you know how many people we've seen come and go who try to hack the algorithm?
Yeah,
do the social
how
media
many
game?
Andy Elliott's that are famous for a couple years and then gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They make a run for a little bit because they know how to hack the algorithm, or they all, like you said, they're all in a big circle jerk helping each other elevate, and then they get found out, and then no one cares again.
Yeah, that whole space, they're dropping like flies right now.
They are.
But yeah, I mean, I just like being authentic because it's easy and I don't have to worry about anything. I mean, that's
Sleep
really
a
what
lot
it comes
better at
down
night
to.
like that. A lot better.
Yeah.
Get what you see. Yeah.
That's great.
But I wanted to just mention one more thing. I work with this other company called Katalyst. I don't know if you've ever heard of
We
them.
do know that. Why do we know
Somebody
that?
mentioned that before.
App? What is it? Tell me what
It's I call it the future of fitness. It's like an EMS fitness, right? So it's got a base layer
suit?
tensile suit, yeah. And you put it
Oh,
on.
so it's STEM.
Yeah,
I've seen
and the reason I mention that is because back to the veteran piece, but also to anybody. So I say the veteran piece because that's how I got involved with them.
Yeah.
It's a tool where, let's just say you can't get into the gym because of whatever injury you might have or ailment or whatever, or for the normal person, time. This suit is you can have a 20-minute workout and literally be more sore than any workout I've ever done. And I say that because the first time I used it,
Pull it up, Doug. Pull it up.
I'm like, this is kind of gimmicky. I'm not a gimmicky guy. And they took me through a 20-minute session. My shoulder was a little bit bad. Yep.
Now you do exercise while it's on.
So this is like I told you about before, where a lot of it's become so popular right now, even in the bodybuilding world, where they're hooking up to e-stim while they do a movement.
So while you're moving, it also fires the muscles that are being.
Yeah. So essentially, it's instructor led on an iPad.
Got it.
And it's Bluetooth. So as the instructor increases the intensity, it increases on yours too.
And while you're moving.
While you're moving.
I just read a study on this. So
So Katalyst first claim to fame or big deal was Usain Bolt. So if you look at him at the very beginning, it almost looks like he's a suicide bomber. Like the technology has come so far, but these EMS, this EMS stuff is big over in Europe. We're just kind of slow to get to it. But I was working with a paraplegic with it, and
that's got to be valuable for them because they can't.
Yeah, and this is what I go back to the veteran stuff on these guys who might be missing limbs or can't do certain things.
I could see a lot of value with certain clients like that.
It's a really great utility.
Yeah, I just read a study on this where exercise, in addition to STEM, so at the same time, produced better strength gains. So this is different than the old school STEM, right?
It's
Where
funny
just,
because
you just sit there and it doesn't.
Leave it to the bodybuilder community.
They're the ones to figure this out.
I've been talking about this on the podcast for a while now. That I'm like, man, the big movement right now I see all my bodybuilder buddies doing is they're hooking themselves up to this e-stim and then they're deadlifting and they're training.
And it's like firing their quads while they squat.
Yeah. Well, the first time I did it, I was by the end of the session, which was 20 minutes. I'm talking to them at the end. And I'm already noticing my upper chest was already getting a little bit sore. And then the next day, it was like my triceps. And then the next day, my glutes. And then the next day, my adductors. But it just kept getting deeper and deeper. I was sore for 7 days from using this thing.
Shit.
Shit.
And it's you don't have to plug it in the wall, huh? It's got enough power?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's got a battery pack. You just pop the battery pack in there. When you're done, you just charge it.
So interesting.
I wonder if you could use. Well, I guess not because it's got to set up with the app. But I wonder if you could use that while lifting. So you could go bench press and then.
I don't think. I mean,
it goes with the app, right? So
it goes with the app. I mean, if there was a hack around it, I forgot what we were talking about using it while we train, and I don't remember what the conversation went, but basically, it's not a good thing to do. Because it can be too much.
Yeah, you drop a weight on yourself.
And it goes up. This one goes up to level 500. The highest I've been able to get it up is like 270.
Oh, really? It's too much after that.
It's too much.
Oh wow.
Wow, that's cool.
That's interesting.
That looks cool. How much does that cost, Doug?
It'd be fun to mess around with that.
It's a couple $1,000.
Couple thousand.
Not that bad for that. I could really see the benefits of that with a client that coming out of
especially when they can't fire a muscle.
Oh yeah,
especially
neuromuscular connection for sure.
Yeah,
that's cool.
There's so much utility to it, but back to a question you were asking before. I'm getting back into the film and TV stuff. It's already happening. I just did some stunt work at the beginning of the year. I got 2 different productions that I'm cast in right now that'll happen later this year, and I want to just get on. I want to get on podcasts and just talk about everything that I haven't talked about before, which is why I'm doing everything on social media right now, sharing everything I've never shared before. Because I've always just kind of used social media as like, I hate saying the ego because I don't feel like I have an ego, but I guess I do, because before it was like, oh, look at me, I'm on set again, whatever, you know. But I'm just trying to be more mindful now of creating a little more value.
Do you have a favorite Hollywood or celebrity memory for yourself so far? I mean, getting into a world that you probably just didn't expect yourself to be in or even identify with. You had to have to keep doing it. You must have had some cool moments. You have one that stands out?
There's a lot. It just depends on, where at, if it's in the celebrity training side, the stunts, the acting. Because I've been, on the acting piece, I didn't mention it before, but essentially the reason why I fell in love with acting is it became another source of therapy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it was like when up until the acting stuff, it's just always been the gym. Like the gym is my outlet. The gym is my therapy.
Yeah.
When I got into the acting stuff, and you get with a legit acting coach, and you realize how much technique and craft is there, because it's like, all right, well, you have the technical side of acting and you have the method side of acting, but also too, you have so many different layers underneath. So if you're going to read for a part, or you got cast for a certain role as this character, well, you have to create in your mind why this character is the way this character is. So you go back to childhood and you create a whole story.
Yeah.
And then
I can see that.
it allows you to kind of use all these emotions, and then you get into animal work and all this stuff. It's like my coach had me slither around on the floor like a snake reading lines, and I'm like, "Are you
like, don't film
this. Is it serious, or are you messing with me?" Yeah, but it's really cool.
I saw one pic where you look like an orc. What character was that?
That was Bright on Netflix.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Will Smith and Joel Edgerton, during the movie, there's this group of like 5 orcs. So that's us.
That's so cool.
And that whole
geek out on that
prosthetic stuff was pretty cool too, because it's a long.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
like 6 hours, or what? How long did that take to put makeup on?
The first week when we were doing all the camera testing, I was in that seat, or we were in the seat probably 8 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Just getting everything right. Once we had it honed in, it was 3.5 hours to get it on. You had your full filming day, and then about another 30 minutes to an hour to get off.
Oh my God. That's intense.
Cold glue on your face. I mean, it's like the fact that Joel Edgerton did it every single day. Like I only had about maybe a month and a half of work on it.
Mm-hmm. How was it training Stallone? When I was a kid, I grew up watching his. I was a big fan.
He's great, man. Like, I think just having the fitness piece in common with him made the conversation flow so much better. We had just a lot to talk about, and that was probably one of the more surreal moments for me. Not that I'm a celebrity struck type guy, but when you grow up watching Rambo and Rocky and stuff.
Come on, man, you have to.
Yeah.
All of a sudden now you're in front of them like, let's go.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Did you work out with him?
No.
Well, he's at that point. He's older too, but still, he's still a badass. You see some stuff he does.
Yeah, he really is.
For sure he is.
That's
Anybody
awesome.
surprise you? Anybody totally different than what you would expect, or anything like that?
A lot of them in a not a good way.
Yeah.
But J.K. Simmons is a good one.
Yeah. Josh
Brolin's a good one. Yeah.
When you say not a good way, obviously you don't have to tell us who, but what do you mean by that? They're just jerks.
Pretentious.
Yeah. It's like you don't, when they come in, you don't know how they're going to be. Sometimes they come in, they shake your hand, give you a hug. Sometimes they walk in, don't even acknowledge you, let alone like, are we even training together, or are you doing your own thing today? I don't know.
You said you didn't like to live in L.A. I can only imagine why. What was it about L.A. you didn't like?
Everything.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like you would stick out like a sore thumb in LA.
Well, I mean, maybe not. He kind of looks like an actor. He's all jacked, but LA's man. When I fly in there for work, I can just feel it when I get there.
You know what I found very interesting about moving to LA, specifically within the fitness scene, but also too in the celebrity training space, is a lot of these trainers. There's no method to what they do. They're just moving people around to make them sweat.
Yeah.
And
that's everywhere, bro.
I know.
Well, and next thing you know, it's like this somehow they got hooked up with a big name celebrity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now this celebrity's getting them press. This trainer doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And it's just it's a really wild thing.
It's very much so personal training, and it's been this way forever.
So who you
it's
know
even
when you get
yeah,
to that
exactly. Even in I remember finding this out in the sports world.
Oh yeah.
I remember thinking like,
That was
oh,
surprising to me.
This pro athlete must have the best trainer. And when you actually get to meet these
He's like,
athletes,
no, it's my cousin.
Yeah, it's like my cousin who got certified, right? He's like fresh out of school, first client is him, and he's letting him train him. It's like, dude, you're a pro athlete. What are you doing with this kid who has no idea what he's? There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that. I mean, I want to believe that I think trainers are getting more credibility today. I think as far as their knowledge. But I think back then, say 10, 15 years ago, it's just who you knew. Like, do you know somebody who's in acting, and then, what I'm saying, go get your basic cert and now you're training them, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to have any real experience or anything.
I really enjoy helping just a normal everyday person, because they're the ones who are lost.
Yeah.
They're the ones who you can literally change their life in one or 2 months.
Agreed.
Yep.
There's just so much conflicting information out there that they don't know where to start, and they need direction. When you can give them that direction, when you can give them that guidance, when you can put them on the right path, it's amazing what can happen.
So
100%.
different than somebody who's getting paid to look away for a part, or paid to get out millions of dollars to perform on the field. Totally different than the person who.
Yeah, I got a job. I got 3 kids. I got a
maybe not even
mortgage.
I don't like
fitness.
Anymore. I don't like working out, and you get them to fall in love with it, and it become a lifestyle and change their life, their family's life. That's always way more rewarding.
Yeah.
I agree. Totally.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
I can talk to you guys all day.
I know. We'll do it again for sure. We'll definitely
And
do it again.
you're definitely a real. I mean, I could smell them out. Just by talking to them, and you definitely are the kind of person that we communicate to our trainers. Like, these are the things you need to value to really make this a good career. Otherwise, it'll either be tough for you, or it'll be fleeting. So
Yeah.
You're on the right track. Stay the course, dude.
Appreciate it.
Stay the course. Yep.
Appreciate you guys.
You got it. All right. I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. Walking. It's one of the best things you can do for your health, bar none, but there's a better way to approach it. Yes, you can just walk, but if you follow the right protocol, it's far more effective. Let's talk about walking.
I can't wait to hear your walking protocol.
Well, there is. There is a protocol. So, and I'll start with the first thing, right? Because just first off, let me start with this. One of the reasons why walking is such a great form of just activity is because it's low risk of injury. Now, some